Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something we often take for granted. Our voice. Not just the sound of it, but the power it holds. The way you speak determines how people perceive you. It's the difference between being ignored and being remembered, between being overlooked and being respected, between getting a maybe and getting a yes. Think about the most influential people you admire. What do they all have in common? They don't just talk, they command attention, and they do it with their voice. The way they use their words, the way they pause, the way they carry energy in every sentence. It pulls people in, it makes them listen. And that's exactly what you need to do. Because here's the truth. Success isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. Your voice is your power, and when you learn how to use it, everything changes. Let's start with confidence. Have you ever heard someone speak in a shaky, uncertain voice? Did they sound like a leader? No, because when you don't believe in what you're saying, no one else will. Your voice is a direct reflection of your confidence. If you want to sound powerful, you need to own your words. Speak with conviction, even if you're unsure, especially if you're unsure. Say it like you mean it, because confidence is contagious. The moment you believe in yourself, others will too. Now let's talk about tone and energy. Have you ever had a conversation with someone whose voice was completely flat? No excitement, no variation, just blah? It doesn't matter how brilliant their words are. If their tone is lifeless, no one cares. The energy you bring to your voice shapes how people feel when they hear you. If you sound excited, people feel excited. If you sound calm and in control, people trust you. Your tone sets the mood for every conversation. So if you want people to listen, bring energy, speak with passion, make them feel something. And here's the secret. Pausing is your best friend. Most people rush through the words because they're nervous. They fill the silence with and because they're afraid of a gap. But powerful speakers, they own the silence. They pause. They let their words sink in. Because silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. When you stop talking for a second, people lean in. They wait for what's next. So the next time you're speaking, slow down. Use the pause. It's not empty space, it's impact. Now, let's get practical. Your voice is a muscle, and just like any muscle, it gets stronger with practice. Want a voice that turns heads? Start with simple vocal exercises. Every morning, hum for a few minutes to warm up your voice. Read a paragraph out loud using different tones and speeds. Record yourself, listen back, adjust. It might feel weird at first, but trust me, this is how you take control of your voice. This is how you train yourself to sound confident, clear, and unforgettable. And finally, the most important part, be real. A beautiful voice isn't just about technique, it's about authenticity. You don't need to sound like someone else. You don't need to force a polished robotic voice. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with realness. Speak from your heart. Say what you mean. Be unapologetically you. Because when you're real, people don't just hear you, they feel you. And that is the key to making an impact. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools you have. It can open doors, create opportunities, and change the way people see you, but only if you use it right. So today, decide to own your voice. Speak with confidence. Bring energy. Use the power of silence. Train your voice like the powerful tool it is. And most importantly, be real. Because when you master your voice, you don't just sound better, you become more powerful. And that's the key to success. Your voice is a reflection of your confidence. The moment you open your mouth to speak, people make judgments about you. They decide whether to listen, whether to take you seriously, and whether you are someone worth paying attention to. And the crazy part? This happens in seconds. You don't even get a full minute to prove yourself. Just a few words, a couple of breaths, and the impression is made. This is why confidence in your voice is non-negotiable. You can have the most brilliant ideas in the world, but if you deliver them in a weak, uncertain voice, no one will take them seriously. If you hesitate, mumble, or shrink your voice down, people will subconsciously assume that what you're saying isn't important, and it has nothing to do with what you're saying. It's about how you say it. Think about the most confident person you know. Picture them walking into a room. Do they keep their head down? Do they speak so softly that no one hears them? No, they walk in with presence. When they speak, they own their words. They don't apologize for taking up space. They don't second guess themselves. And because they believe in what they're saying, everyone else believes in them too. The good news? Confidence in your voice is learned. No one is born with it. It's something you train, just like a muscle. And just like building strength in the gym, building a strong voice takes practice. Start with the way you breathe. Most people breathe too shallowly when they talk. They hold tension in their chest, which makes their voice sound tight and weak. Confident speakers breathe from their diaphragm. They take full, deep breaths that support their voice. A simple exercise. Take a deep breath in right now, slow and controlled. Feel your stomach expand. Then exhale fully. Do this before you speak, and your voice will immediately sound more powerful. Next, slow down. When people are nervous, they speed up. They rush through their words, trying to get it over with. But powerful speakers own their pace. They slow down, articulate every word, and allow silence to exist. When you rush, you sound insecure. When you slow down, you sound in control. Another key, volume. I'm not saying you need to shout, but you need to project. Most people speak too softly, afraid of being too loud. But if people constantly ask you to repeat yourself, or if your words fade out at the end of a sentence, you're not using your full vocal potential. A confident voice is clear and strong. Speak like you expect to be heard. And here's something powerful. Stand or sit up straight. Your body position affects your voice. If you're slouching or collapsing your posture, your voice gets weaker. Straighten your spine, open your chest, and let your voice project. A strong posture sends a signal to your brain that says, I'm in charge, and that confidence will come through in your voice. One of the fastest ways to build vocal confidence is by practicing out loud. Every day, find a paragraph, could be from a book, a speech, even an article, and read it out loud with intention. Record yourself. Listen back. Notice your tone, your pacing, your clarity. It might feel awkward at first, but this is the exact process that great speakers use to train their voices. And finally, the biggest shift, stop apologizing for your voice. Too many people shrink themselves down. They start sentences with, sorry, but, or this might not make sense, but. Stop that. Your voice is powerful. Your words matter. Speak with conviction, even if you're unsure. Because confidence is not about always knowing the right thing to say. It's about trusting yourself enough to say it anyway. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools you have. It doesn't just communicate your words, it communicates your energy, your presence, and your confidence. And one of the most important things to understand is that the tone of your voice shapes the way people perceive you. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who speaks in a monotone with no energy or variation? No matter how interesting their words might be, you start zoning out. Their voice doesn't engage you. Now think about a great speaker, someone who makes you hang on to every word. What's different? Their tone, their energy, the way they use their voice to emphasize, to create impact, to keep you listening. The good news? You can train this. You can make your voice more engaging, more captivating, and more powerful just by learning how to control your tone. First, let's talk about variety. A powerful voice isn't flat. It has range. It rises and falls. It speeds up for excitement, then slows down for emphasis. It gets quieter for intimacy, then louder for authority. This variation is what makes people listen. When you stay in one tone the whole time, people tune out. But when you bring intentional shifts in pitch, pace, and volume, you draw them in. A simple way to practice: record yourself reading something out loud. Play it back and notice, does your voice sound alive or does it sound robotic? If it sounds flat, exaggerate your range. Read a sentence, but this time, emphasize different words. Try making your voice more dynamic. It'll feel strange at first, but this is how you train your vocal muscles. Next, let's talk about warmth. The tone of your voice can make people feel connected to you or pushed away. A harsh, cold tone makes you seem distant. but a warm, open tone makes people feel comfortable, safe, and engaged. This is why great leaders and speakers don't just speak, they connect. And the way they do that is through warmth in their voice. How do you develop this? Start by focusing on your breath. A stressed out voice is tight and strained. A relaxed voice is open and inviting. Before you speak, take a deep breath, let go of any tension. Then speak with intention. Imagine you're talking to a close friend instead of just saying words. That shift alone will make your voice more natural and engaging. Another key to mastering tone: confidence. People can hear insecurity in your voice. If you end every sentence like a question, like you're asking for approval, people won't take you seriously. But when you own your words, when you speak with certainty, people believe you. They trust you. One of the quickest ways to sound more confident: lower your pitch slightly. When we're nervous, our voices go up, making us sound uncertain. But when you consciously lower your pitch, even just a little, you sound more grounded and authoritative. This is why deep, steady voices command attention. They send a subconscious signal that says, I know what I'm talking about. And let's not forget pauses. Most people rush through their words afraid of silence, but silence is powerful. When you pause, people lean in. They wait for what's next. Instead of filling every space with words, practice letting a sentence breathe. Say something important, then stop. Let it land. That moment of stillness makes your message even stronger. The way you use your tone affects how people see you, how they respond to you, and how they remember you. A strong, dynamic, and warm tone makes you someone people want to listen to. So train your voice, play with your tone, add variety, warmth, and confidence. Because when you do, your words don't just get heard. Your voice is not just about the words you say, it's about the emotions you transmit, the presence you command, and the authority you establish. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is speaking without intention. They go through conversations on autopilot, not realizing that their voice is constantly sending signals about how they feel, what they believe, and whether or not they truly own their words. If you want to develop a powerful, beautiful voice that draws people in and makes them respect you, you have to become intentional about how you speak. Every time you open your mouth, you are making an impression. The question is, are you making the right one? Let's start with energy. If you speak without energy, your voice sounds weak, hesitant, and forgettable. Have you ever listened to someone who talks in a low, mumbled, or uninspired way? It's like their voice disappears into the background. You don't remember what they said, and more importantly, you don't feel anything when they speak. That's what happens when you don't bring energy to your voice. But on the other hand, when you speak with energy, when your voice is full, rich, and alive, people sit up, they listen, they feel your presence. And the best part, energy is something you can control. You don't have to be naturally loud or extroverted to have a voice that commands attention. You just have to make sure that when you speak, you mean it. A simple exercise. Before an important conversation or speech, take a deep breath and exhale with force. Feel the air come out of you with power. Then, when you speak, imagine that your words are reaching the person in front of you. Don't just let the words fall out of your mouth. Send them out with energy, with impact. Another critical factor, resonance. A strong voice has depth, weight, and presence. When you speak from your throat or nose, your voice sounds thin and weak. But when you speak from your chest, your voice has power. One of the fastest ways to develop a rich, resonant voice is to hum. Yes, hum. When you hum, you activate the lower part of your vocal register, the part that makes your voice sound warm, full, and confident. Try this. Hum for 10 seconds and then immediately say a sentence out loud. You'll notice that your voice feels stronger, deeper, and more controlled. This is because resonance comes from using your vocal cords fully instead of restricting them. But resonance is not just about physical technique, it's about emotional connection. When you speak with depth, it means you're speaking from a place of truth. It means you're engaged in what you're saying, and people can feel that. A resonant voice isn't just about sounding better, it's about being more connected to your message. Now, let's talk about one of the most underrated skills when it comes to having a powerful voice: articulation. If people can't understand you, they won't listen to you. And yet, so many people rush through their words, mumble, or drop the endings of their sentences. They assume that if they know what they're saying, everyone else does too. But that's not true. Clear articulation makes you sound intelligent, confident, and engaging. And the easiest way to improve it? Slow down. Most people speak too fast because they're nervous or trying to get their thoughts out before they forget them. But when you slow down, your voice becomes clearer. People absorb your words better. You sound more in control. Practice this. Take a sentence and say it at half speed. Feel each word as you say it. Notice how your voice sounds richer and more deliberate. The more you practice slowing down, the more natural it will feel. Finally, let's talk about commitment. Your voice only sounds powerful if you believe in what you're saying. If you hesitate, if you second guess yourself, your voice will reflect that. But when you commit, when you own your words, your voice becomes magnetic. So before you speak, ask yourself, do I believe in what I'm about to say? If the answer is no, change your approach. Speak from conviction. Speak with purpose. Because a voice that is strong, resonant, and clear isn't just a beautiful voice. It's a voice that changes lives. Your voice is an instrument, and like any instrument, it needs to be tuned, refined, and used with precision. One of the most powerful yet overlooked aspects of a beautiful, compelling voice is control. Control over your pitch, tone, volume, and even the pauses you take while speaking. Without control, your voice can come across as weak, uncertain, or even irritating. But when you develop control, you can make your voice captivating, persuasive, and memorable. The first element of voice control is pitch variation. A monotonous voice, one that stays at the same pitch throughout, loses people's attention almost instantly. Think about the most engaging speakers you've heard. They don't sound robotic. They have dynamics in their voice. They go higher when they're emphasizing something exciting. They drop lower when they want to sound serious or intimate. This kind of variation keeps people engaged. You can practice this by reading something out loud and intentionally varying your pitch. Exaggerate it at first. Go really high, then really low. This will help you get comfortable with a range of vocal tones. Then start applying it naturally in your everyday conversations. When you're telling a story, use your voice to create emotion. Let your pitch rise when you're excited and fall when you're making an important point. The second key to voice control is tone awareness. Your tone communicates far more than your words do. The same sentence can sound kind, sarcastic, authoritative, or unsure, depending on your tone. If you want your voice to be beautiful and impactful, you need to be aware of how your tone is coming across. One common mistake people make is using a questioning tone when they don't mean to. This happens when their voice rises at the end of a sentence, making it sound like they're unsure or seeking approval. It weakens their message. Instead, practice ending your sentences with a downward inflection. This makes you sound more confident and assertive. Another tone mistake? Speaking with too much tension. When you're stressed or nervous, your voice tightens up. It sounds strained, higher pitched, or even shaky. The best way to fix this is to relax your throat and shoulders before speaking. Take deep breaths, release any tension in your jaw. A relaxed voice sounds more pleasant, warm, and natural. The third element of control is volume modulation. Speaking too softly can make you seem timid or hesitant. Speaking too loudly can come across as aggressive or overwhelming. The key is to adjust your volume based on the situation and to use intentional volume shifts to emphasize key points. A powerful trick? Lower your voice slightly when you want people to really listen. When you drop your volume, instead of raising it, people lean in. They pay closer attention. This is a technique used by some of the best public speakers in the world. At the same time, don't be afraid to project when needed. If you're speaking to a group, use your diaphragm to support your voice instead of straining your throat. This makes your voice sound full and commanding without being harsh. The fourth component of voice control is pausing. Most people don't pause enough when they speak. They rush through their words, filling the space with and because they're afraid of silence. But silence is powerful. A well-placed pause makes your words land with more impact. It gives your audience time to absorb what you're saying. Try this. The next time you're speaking, insert a deliberate pause before making an important point. Let the silence build anticipation, then deliver your words with purpose. This technique not only makes your voice more compelling, but it also makes you seem more in control. Finally, the ultimate form of voice control is emotional control. If you let emotions like frustration, nervousness, or anger take over your voice, it loses its beauty and power. A shaky voice, a rushed pace, a defensive tone, these all happen when emotions control you instead of the other way around. To master this, practice breathing deeply before speaking. If you're feeling anxious, slow down. If you're feeling irritated, take a breath before responding. When you learn to regulate your emotions, your voice naturally becomes more composed, steady, and authoritative. A voice that is controlled is a voice that is respected. It's a voice that people want to listen to. By mastering pitch variation, tone awareness, volume modulation, intentional pausing, and emotional control, you'll transform your voice into one that isn't just heard, it's felt. Your voice carries energy. It isn't just about the words you say, it's about how you say them. The energy behind your voice determines how people perceive you, whether they listen, whether they take you seriously, and whether they feel drawn to what you're saying. If you want a voice that commands respect and admiration, you need to be intentional about the energy you bring into your speech. One of the biggest mistakes people make is speaking with low energy. When your voice lacks energy, it sounds dull, weak, and uninspiring. People tune out. They assume you're uninterested, unconfident, or lacking passion. On the other hand, a voice full of energy captivates. It makes people feel something. It makes them want to listen. So, how do you bring more energy into your voice? First, you need to pay attention to your breath. Your voice is powered by your breath, and if you're not breathing deeply, your voice won't carry the energy it needs. Most people breathe shallowly, especially when they're nervous or speaking in front of others. This makes their voice sound thin, weak, or even shaky. The solution? Breathe from your diaphragm. Before speaking, take a deep breath in, expanding your stomach rather than just your chest. Then, as you speak, let your breath support your words. This not only makes your voice sound stronger, but it also helps you maintain energy without strain. Next, focus on your pace. Speaking too fast drains the energy from your voice. It makes you sound rushed, anxious, or scattered. When you slow down slightly, your words carry more weight. They sound more intentional. But be careful, speaking too slowly can make you sound bored or disengaged. The key is controlled variation. Speed up when you want to show excitement. Slow down when you want to emphasize something important. This dynamic range keeps your energy engaging rather than overwhelming. Another critical element is enthusiasm. People often think they need to sound professional or serious all the time, but professionalism doesn't mean being robotic. A voice that lacks warmth or expression doesn't inspire action. Enthusiasm isn't about being overly loud or dramatist. It's about genuinely caring about what you're saying. It's about letting that care come through in your voice. A great way to develop this is to imagine you're talking to someone you truly want to help. When you shift your mindset from "I need to sound impressive" to "I want to make an impact," your voice naturally becomes more energetic and engaging. Then there's resonance. This is what makes a voice sound rich, full, and powerful rather than thin or weak. Resonance comes from how you place your voice in your body. If you only speak from your throat, your voice will lack depth. If you engage your chest and even your head when you speak, your voice will sound fuller and more authoritative. You can develop resonance by practicing humming. Try humming and feeling the vibration in your chest. Then speak while maintaining that vibration. This trains your voice to come from a deeper, more powerful place. And finally, body language affects your vocal energy. If you're slouched, looking down, or holding tension in your body, your voice will reflect that. Standing or sitting up straight, using open gestures, and keeping your face expressive all contribute to the energy behind your voice. A voice full of energy isn't just louder, it's more alive. It has breath, pace, enthusiasm, resonance, and physical presence behind it. When you master these, your voice will not only sound beautiful, but also feel powerful to everyone who hears it.